Welcome back, everybody, inside the Nittany Lions Sports Report. This is the Blitz segment, and this is our whiteboard, where we take a look at one of the key factors for Penn State, either in the prior week or the upcoming week. And this week, we decided to take a look at the rival Pitt Panthers and Kenny Pickett at quarterback, a guy who struggled last year at Heinz Field in a rain-soaked environment, and a guy that didn't have a lot of guys to throw to. They certainly had the guys to hand it off to, but the air attack was really a struggle, weather not included. But there's a gentleman named Maurice Ffrench, and yes, that's spelled French. F-F-R-E-N-C-H. Bonjour, as it were. And Maurice Ffrench is one of those little guys that's going to find pockets in the middle of that defense and can really, really make big plays, a la a guy like A.J. Hamler a little bit. So let's break down one of the big plays in last week's game. They're down here at the 26-yard line. Pickett drops back, and here comes Ffrench in the middle of the defense. Ohio's playing some zone look, so safety hangs back as the cornerback, and really I shouldn't have Ffrench written so large here. We're going to try this again. He's going to sit down in this coverage as the cornerback sits in his zone. He's going to catch this ball here. Pickett ends up stepping up into the pocket as the rush collapses around him, throws a good ball in the act of running towards the line of scrimmage. He catches, turns, and Ffrench is off to the races and just beats two guys down the field. Now, I think that's a concern for Penn State for a couple of reasons, because the question for me is, one, what is this defensive line going to be able to do? Now, I mentioned Jimmy Morrissey, and of course he's my boy, former LaSalle College High School offensive and defensive lineman. He's the center, and he's one of the captains of the team. But Pitt's offensive line is a lot more stout than what we would have seen from Idaho or from Buffalo. So, is it Shaka Toney? Is it Shane Simmons? Yetur Gross-Matos, I think that speaks for itself. A combination of P.J. Musfer, Antonio Shelton, trying to get pressure up the middle, offset by a rushing game from Pitt, three-headed monster led by A.J. Davis, trying to punch the ball through the middle and keep these guys on their toes. So, are they going to be able to get this pressure on Kenny Pickett? Pickett's shown that he's going to be a guy that's able to move in the pocket and throw on the run. And Maurice Ffrench can bury himself in the middle of this defense. I think a very strong, capable little guy. And I think it's going to be John Reed on him. That's not necessarily confirmed, obviously. But John Reed, a guy who's played excellent football the first two games, that's a key matchup for this weekend. Maurice Ffrench, John Reed. And will Penn State stay with the mostly man look that they've ran over the first 2 weeks? Or will it be a zone look? And how will that affect things? But that's my big concern for Penn State, is a guy like Maurice Ffrench, an ability to take the top off, in addition to the fact that Penn State has struggled getting off the field in the first two games. So if we're talking about a first half, like we saw against Buffalo, where Penn State's having trouble as an offense staying on the field, where the time of possession is being dominated by the other team, and you have an over-the-top threat that surpasses anything that Buffalo could throw at you, how is Penn State going to deal with that, and could they find themselves in a bigger hole than they did against Buffalo? Now, point blank, I don't think that's going to happen. I think John Reed is a great matchup for a guy like this, and Maurice Ffrench, while fantastic, 10 catches over 130 yards last week, is going to have struggles that he didn't see last week against Ohio. That's just the nature of these early season games. It's put up or shut up all time. Maurice Ffrench, absolutely fantastic wide receiver. Kenny Pickett playing better football, struggled in week one, played great in week two. But this, the best defensive secondary that he's faced thus far. That's a key for me in this game. That's our Blitz segment. And we'll take a break, come back on the other side. You're watching the Nittany Lions Sports Report. This is the Blitz segment. And up next, we have our guest picker, Dan Green of Chefs Galore. He is of A Kitchen in Rittenhouse Square, a tremendous restaurant in Center City. He's going to tell his story and make his picks, try to put himself atop the leaderboard where Tyler Curran currently sits alone at 5-1. 6 picks coming your way up next here on the Nittany Lions Sports Report.